Mm,
far runners or runners up or whatever. Or maybe with people that have shared prizes. It's standard. There's rooms at the back there. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's super. Yeah. These chairs.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. If there's spaces between you, please just move inward so that other people can find a place to sit. If you don't have a place to sit, you can also move to the overflow rooms at the back. Okay. Okay, so we have to start the program now. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome our Minister of Basic Education, Angie Motshekga, here with us today. We also have the Governor of the Reserve Bank, Lesetja Kganyago. I'd also like to welcome the Deputy Governors and the participants of the MPC Schools Challenge. So this is the second year that we have all 9 provinces participating in the MPC Schools Challenge. And today we are here to celebrate the winners of the 2019 round of the challenge. So everyone, welcome. So I'll quickly take you through the evacuation procedures. In the event of an emergency, kindly move calmly to the exits that are clearly marked on the sides of the hall. Please do take guidance from the conference center staff members. And also, if you hear a siren or they come and announce that we need to evacuate, calmly move to the exit as I have discussed with you just now. So please stay calm and move to the exits in the event of an emergency. So I would like to welcome Deputy Governor Fundi to come and welcome our Minister of Basic Education, apologies. And please join me in welcoming Deputy Governor Fundi. Thank you.
Minister Angie Motshekga, Governor Lesetja Kganyago, my fellow Deputy Governors and distinguished guests, and most importantly, the amazing learners that we've come to celebrate here today. Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to be part of this initiative yet again, although I have to confess this year I got booted out as a judge, so I am aggrieved that I can no longer participate as a judge of the competition. And it's really great to see this initiative taking off in the way that it has taken off. My job today, thankfully, is not as difficult as the job of the learners during the MPC Schools Challenge. Mine is to introduce to you someone who doesn't require a big introduction, a great champion for education, the Honorable Mrs. Angie Motshekga, the Minister of Basic Education. She has occupied this portfolio since May 2009 and was reappointed to her role in May 2019. She holds a master's degree on business science and various education accomplishments. Her passion for education and nurturing comes from her days as an educator at different levels of learning, from high school level to college and also to Wits University. So in her most recent interview on 702, the minister revealed some details of her own upbringing and some of the challenges that she's had to deal with, ranging from the struggle during apartheid, the role that she's played in the women's movement, and some challenging hurdles that she has had to overcome during her tenure as minister. And what I found most striking is just how she is like this warrior that is able to overcome many things and sets an excellent example for us. So I'm very happy today to welcome her as she joins us in honoring the future economists of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Minister Motshekga.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Let me also acknowledge our Governor, Lesetja Kganyago, the Deputy Governors of the Reserve Bank, members of the Monetary Policy Committee, leadership of organized labor that's here. I'm told that their parents, leaders of our school governing bodies, Mayor Ella from SAIS. I'm told also my colleague from Gauteng, the MEC is on his way. Tete Khosa, senior members of the Reserve Bank. We have officials from DBE, but also teachers and officials from the province, distinguished guests, but most important, the learners and the teachers. They really are the most important people in the sector. So dumelang, absheni, molweni, kweda, dimasiari. Dimasiari, where are people from Limpopo? Hey, but Lishakan. Yeah, Lishakan. So, program director, it's really always for me a great honor and privilege for me to be here with you as we gather to announce the winners of the Monetary Policy Committee. I shared with the Motshekga when I was coming here and was saying, what is it all about? And says, I don't want to be close to those kids. They're much more educated, enlightened than I am, so I'm scared of them. So I must tell you that my husband is scared of you from really the experiences and what I've seen in the past about what you can do. He says I'm very illiterate when I'm with those young people. So indeed, Kenya. So there's also agency matter. Reserve Bank and okay. So it is really, and we're very proud of the bank. We're proud that it's well run. And I really want to take this opportunity to salute the men and women at the helm of the bank, because truly it is a pride of our nation. We also appreciate the role of the bank, and we'd like to emphasize it as government that it's enshrined in our constitution, and its role is to achieve and maintain price stability in the interest of balanced and sustainable economic growth in our country. And we also want to acknowledge and confirm that we feel that it is in line, it is our last line of defense in good times and bad times when it comes to the matters of inflation and economic stability. And the idea of this program, the Monetary Policy Committee Schools Challenge, apart from its intellectual and academic benefits, as it helps our young people to free their potential, to ignite within them the will to win and the desire to succeed. These are innate qualities of successful people. And as I say, I've become part of the program and very grateful and appreciative that we're always invited, because I find it one of the most beautiful, worthwhile, and great programs that as a sector we benefit from. And we really want to express our gratitude and appreciation to the bank that they take all the time to do this kind of work with our young people. And as a sector, we feel that we need more programs that teach our young people and inculcate in them the habit of winning. We need competition that teach teamwork while affirming individual excellence. I'm a firm believer that anybody who participates in this competition is in no way a winner, is some way a winner, because no one lives without learning a great deal. In his book entitled 7 Habits of Successful People, John Maxwell makes a valid point that crossing the finish line is great, but what about the journey it took to get there? So I hope our kids are grateful for the process, because it's part of their life to grow during the process. I believe that you have learned something through the process, and I'm mindful that what you learn on the way to the glorious finish line. From the onset, I want to congratulate all participating schools and learners. I want to stress that the winning is not everything, but the effort to win. And just being here, that's the greatest effort, and I think victory that you would have scored as a school. This program was conceptualized with an understanding of the immense need to improve financial and economic literacy among our young people. And I do believe the MPC challenge has been a huge success and I'm glad and very proud that you're saying this year we've managed to get all 9 provinces, but you can even see with the size of the house that the program is growing in leaps and bounds. So to the eventual winners, as one clergyman famously put it, the secret of living a life of excellence is merely a matter of thinking through the thoughts of excellence. Really, it's a matter of programming your minds with the kinds of information that will set you free. So members of the winning team will also have their names put forward to receive South African Reserve Bank bursaries, and congratulations, I'm very happy for you. But I want to say we heartily thank the Reserve Bank for having the courage of their own conviction, picking up the cudgels and growing its own timber. I can imagine if most institutions would help us again to expose young people studying their fields at the level that you are doing and with the quality of engagements that you do. So we in the basic education sector value the role played and the pedagogy because it foregrounds critical thinking, which is essential to academic literacy. And some researchers have touted role play pedagogy as a means of increasing students' motivation, engagement, confidence. And I've also seen that from the previous competitions that young people who come here or who really win, even the way they walk, you'll see when they come and work, you can see that the level of confidence just is heightened by the work that they have played. So program director, in our case, learners were indeed challenged and taken out of their comfort zones, and they can bear testimony to the fact that after this exercise, they have benefited both intellectually and cognitively. So in this challenge, again, we know that learners have simulated the Reserve Bank process, and I really don't want for the newcomers to read it because they already know the protocols and the running order. So today, I know we have 5 winners, but what is important is what the institution does in the greater scheme of macroeconomic policy. 100 more participated in the process and enhanced their understanding on how economics as a subject fit in the real life situation. Hence, there are no losers today. As I said, program director, when I was discussing with the Temutse, I was saying, I'm scared of those high school kids. If what you say happens is what is happening, so I won't even stand next to them. So on behalf of basic education, we want to extend our gratitude to all economics teachers and learners for taking part in the challenge, because if you didn't raise your hands, we wouldn't be here. But especially to teachers who just took an extra mile to make sure that we're here and our learners have been exposed to this very beautiful program. We want to reiterate our gratitude to the Reserve Bank for choosing our sector for this important challenge. Just like last year, I must repeat, I continue to remain optimistic that the Reserve Bank will come to the party to assist us in the area of teacher development in these critical subjects. Because I'm sure that also the teachers who are participating or who had to prepare learners, they themselves also benefit or gain something, or gain some insights which they share with our learners. So I want to thank all participants and say to our children as usual, you are the greatest assets that we have as a country. You are our brightest stars. You just never tire to shine. Inculcate inside you the will to succeed and to build resilience, and a desire to shine will be ingrained into the system. Because with your success, with your bright star, it will shine also to your colleagues, to your counterparts in schools, and it will spread the very spirit that we want to spread amongst our kids, the spirit to fight, to win, but to also work collaboratively and work as teams and put the country first as part of your other main responsibility of putting South Africa first and everything else after. Thank you.
Okay. Are you guys excited about what the minister has just shared with you? Yes. Are you inspired? Did it stick out to you that she mentioned that it's more than just winning the prizes here today? It's also about the general understanding of economics in this country. So I really hope that you pick that up and kindly join me in welcoming our Governor Lesitja Kganyago.
Thank you very much, Koketo. The Honorable Minister of Basic Education, Ms. Angie Motshekga, and MEC of Basic Education in Gauteng, who is on his way. Deputy Governors, heads of departments, members of the MPC, colleagues from the South African Reserve Bank and the Department of Basic Education, school governing bodies here present, representatives from schools, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the announcement of the 2019 winners of the MPC Schools Challenge. It is my pleasure to once again to pay tribute to our bright and enthusiastic future economies from schools across the country. And Minister, I want to especially recognize your presence here today and to thank you for your continued commitment and support for the MPC Schools Challenge. If I am not mistaken, this is your fourth successive year attending this event. It has not gone unnoticed. Keep it up, and we hope to see you again next year. 25 years after South Africa's first democratic election, the realities facing young people remain troubling, mainly due to high unemployment rate. Many of them struggle to relate to the achievements over the last 25 years. This is a challenge we have to urgently address. We have to put our minds together and find realistic, sustainable ways to integrate youth into the economy. I grew up in a rural area, and I can tell you that many kids from those rural areas who had succeeded in their careers and are noticed anywhere else at the moment, they shared one common characteristic, and it is not because they were born to a rich family. Their common characteristic is they took advantage of the opportunities offered by education. What your parents might leave you in physical wealth, you might just lose. Somebody might just steal it, or it might have been invested in some financial assets whose price might crash. But the education you get stays in your head, and no one can ever take it away from you. And so as a country, when we think of how nations compete today not because they have got mineral wealth below the land. They don't compete because they have got bigger countries than other countries, other nations have. Nations today compete on the basis of one asset, and that asset exists in the heads of its young people. So a nation that does not invest in the education of its young people can never compete in the future. And if you as young people do not take advantage of the opportunities offered by education, you will never be able to compete with your global peers. Earlier this year, South African Reserve Bank launched 6 commemorative circulation coins together with collectible coins to mark 25 years of our democracy. The coins were inspired by views from born-free South Africans who shared their vision, their dreams, their hopes, and more importantly, their aspirations for our country. It was their perspectives that was brought to life by some of the country's most talented young artists who not only poured passion into the project, but also captured the essence of the themes. I'm told that during the engagement with young South Africans, our constitutional rights came up several times, which made this the overarching theme that we decided to depict on the coins. This was the first time in the history of the South African Reserve Bank that more especially young South Africans were consulted to this extent in developing the themes and designs of our coins. We must continue to find innovative ways to channel the passion and the energy of our young people towards building and transforming South Africa. We have certainly seen this energy come through in this year's MPC School Challenge, with over 190 schools submitting the MPC statements. The team from the Department of Basic Education and the South African Reserve Bank are finding the adjudication process more difficult as the quality of submissions improve year after year. We are also seeing an increase in the level of interest in economics as a career path. This is good news for our economy. For most of the discussions in our country on the issue of our economy are based on uninformed positions. For the people involved in the discourse do not have access to the kinds of information that you as young people were availed in having to formulate your statements. And so, with this, we hope that you would be able to live up to that theme that young people carried in the 80s that said, each one must teach one. In 2013, when we first launched the MPC Schools Challenge, we were only in Gauteng, having reached only 70 schools. Today, we are in all provinces and have reached over 3,200. Our goal is to improve the quality of support to learners and teachers, or you call them educators these days. It tells you my age. Also that we could increase the number of submissions from schools. We had over 400 schools participate this year, with only 194 schools submitting their essays. I want to commend our 2019 finalists. We have all done exceptionally well. This year's finalists are Wutleng Secondary School from Mpumalanga. Raise your hands. El Shaddai Christian School from Gauteng Province. Kroonberg Secondary School, Western Cape Province. Hoër School Linden, Gauteng Province. We seem to be regular visitors. Horizon High School from Gauteng. Midrand High, Gauteng. Northern Cape High School. They surely can be from Limpopo, right? UJ Metropolitan Academy. If it's UJ, it must be Gauteng. We must also acknowledge the huge effort from the other 187 participating schools and are proud of their contribution to making this challenge such a huge success. We must also acknowledge the immeasurable role of our educators. It is their effort and time, and often their own personal time, which serve as a huge inspiration to their learners to take up the challenge and compete against their peers. As we celebrate the winners today, we must also celebrate the unique partnership between the Department of Basic Education and the South African Reserve Bank. The role of the Department of Basic Education is commendable, and I want to once again thank all the officials here today for the continued support. I'm hopeful that the challenge will produce the future governors, economists, educators, and more importantly, defenders of our constitution and stewards of our economy. When we decided to embark on this program, we made a commitment that the MPC Schools Challenge will be sustainable, that it will reach schools across the country, and that it will be built in the spirit of true partnership with the Department of Basic Education. We also knew that its success would require the active involvement of the senior leadership of the bank. I'm proud to say that we have and will continue to live up to that commitment. Former learners who participated in the MPC Schools Challenge have found their way to the bank and are now some of our most ardent supporters. So I want to let the learners here today know that participating in this challenge is a career-enhancing move. You might not end up in this bank, but you could end up in some role where you would be able to ply your trade in economics. And so as we prepare to announce the winning team, let me take this opportunity to invite the winning school, their economics educators and principals to attend the MPC meeting next month on the 19th as my special guest. So if you don't want to visit me on the 19th, just make sure you don't win. The MPC Schools Challenge offer you the opportunity to present your MPC statement to a panel of experts. On the 19th of September, you will see how the MPC works in real life. I look forward to seeing the winners on the 19th of September in this very conference center just down the passage. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, so the governor mentioned that many of the arguments happening in the media and in the economy currently are based on lack of information. So it is our opportunity and our responsibility to teach one. So each one of you here today that have learned some information around the economy and how to analyze it, share it with your family members, with your peers, and go forward and make South Africa great. So thank you so much, Governor. I would like to also now welcome Ria Betswe Mwane. Ria Betswe, who's also known as Ria, is a very audacious and passionate businesswoman. Ria studied marketing at the University of Johannesburg, while at the same time establishing a very successful company by the age of 21. This company basically focused on empowering and education of young people. It created school bags out of recycled plastic and also attached a solar lantern to the school bag. That way, enabling learners to have not only a school bag, but also a means to study at night. This company has been acclaimed internationally by companies such as CNN, organizations such as CNN, and also you might know Bill Gates. Her interest in recycling has expanded, and she has created a company called Creamfields, which has 2 subsidiaries dealing in waste management as well as tire recycling. Ria has several accolades, including Forbes Africa 30 Under 30 in 2018, as well as 100 Mandelas of the Future in 2018. Join me in welcoming a great change agent, Ria.
Hello. Greetings, everyone. Honorable Minister Mochega, Governor Kganyako, Honorable MEC Panyaza Lusupi, who just arrived, all members of the Reserve Bank, the Department of Education, and the Adjudication Board of the MPC Challenge. but most importantly to the learners and the teachers who commit their everyday lives to educating our children. Welcome. It is an honor for me to be here. I remember it like it was just yesterday, in your shoes, but you guys are slightly older. I was in grade 10, with much ambition to become an actuary. For Salsi Day, take a girl child to school, I used to go to every auditing firm you could imagine with the ambition of becoming an actuary. I had a clear roadmap of how I was going to achieve my dreams and everything I was destined to become. To be honest, my marks didn't quite match what I wanted to be, what I wanted to strive and become, but I was extremely ambitious to become an actuary. But Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." Truly, the more ambition you have, the greater the worth you accumulate. Fast forward a few years later, 2013, third year at the University of Johannesburg, I decided to study BCom marketing. And yes, you're right, I didn't quite make it in textual sciences. But my partner at the time approached me with something she was tasked to create, and that in turn resulted in what was now our new business and the new businesses that we were going to formulate. The business was recycled plastic. So these were plastic that you would get from Woolworths, ShopRite, Checkers, and we used those to create bags for school kids that were in underprivileged areas. The school bag would have a solar lantern so that as the children were walking to and from school, it could charge. And when they got back home, it was used as a safer light source instead of the kerosene lanterns and the candles that were used. It resulted in us being able to recycle plastics that were unrecyclable. It also allowed us to create the employment that was needed in the country. We went into the business with a clear goal of the impact we wanted to make in underprivileged areas, many of which seem unattainable, but we attained them anyway. By recording your dreams and goals on a piece of paper, you set in motion the process of becoming the person you want to be. You put your future in good hands, in your own hands. In 2015, I took the leap of faith and resigned from the company I'd co-founded that had so much purpose and had amassed so many accolades, as you guys might have heard. I thought I'd gone crazy for resigning, but what lay ahead of me was so uncertain, was so risky, that it thrilled and excited me, but also gave me sleepless nights. I would move from my comfort zone to the unknown, from the upcycling of plastics to the storage, pre-processing, and transportation of scrap tire and tire material. I couldn't distinguish one tire from the next. I still can't change my own car tire. But the challenge was too hard for me to resist. I went from working with a team that was predominantly women to only working with men who understood the technicalities of tires, and I'm sure they knew that I knew nothing about tires, but they embraced it and entertained it anyways. But as Masayoshi Son once said, it would take enormous expertise for Amazon to win in every single category. Imagine McDonald's being an expert in hamburgers, seafood, and Chinese food. But it's important to recognize your expertise, the next person's expertise, and how these can be harnessed and used to achieve everything you set out to achieve as a team. I went from an industry where I could conduct meetings comfortably in English and have myself mutually understood or with the people in the room, to having engagements with local industry in English, but having the response given in Afrikaans. And for me, in high school, Afrikaans was almost a free lesson, so it was a bit hard to comprehend. But through it all, I continued to fall in love with the waste industry. I thought plastics pushed all the right buttons, but every day, as a learning curve in the tire industry, I met all the necessary innovators and industrialists that were using waste to create amazing products, and I was always faced with the amount of opportunities that were available. It was like unlike any other feeling I've had. But of course, with time, as much as something new was faced with me every day, the work started becoming redundant. I needed something scary, uncertain, and risky again. But this time around, I didn't have to look too far. We were receiving excess tire tubes that we had absolutely no use for. It was then that I remembered my other love, manufacturing. I met up with local artisans in the community that I previously worked with, and yes, they were from the plastic recycling company, who were just as excited about what we could sew and manufacture out of the tie tubes. It's always important to work with people who share the same level of enthusiasm, creativity, and passion as you do. We now work with the mining and construction industries where we supply underground and above surface workers with respiratory bags, first aid kit bags, and something called a sleep protector. We also work with corporate for corporate gifting, and by the end of August, we will be retailing in some of your biggest malls in the country where our products can be purchased by the everyday individual. The sleepless nights, the constant challenges, working with different people and helping them see the value in discarded waste has truly proven to be worth it in so many ways. Today we stand amongst the pioneers of the future, having been selected for the Forbes Africa Under 30 list, which was a dream come true honestly for me. And also being named amongst the 100 Mandelas of the future, and Entrepreneur Magazine's 50 African women entrepreneurs to watch. Life may not pan out the way you want it to or the way you anticipated to, and really it won't. But what's important is the perception you have of yourself, your purpose, and what you are worth and what you are destined for. As a little girl from a township called Mokwase in Rustenburg, I don't know if there's anyone from the Northwest here, Rustenburg, maybe? Yay. From Mokwase, Rustenburg, I would have never imagined myself standing behind a podium at the Reserve Bank. I could literally pinch myself, it's crazy. But there is a reason why you guys are here as the learners. It's no coincidence. And what I would advise is to never sell yourself short. You are worth it and you deserve it. This can only be the start of great things. But the decision lies with you to grab the opportunity with both hands and make the most of it. Never wait for a coronation because the greatest emperors crown themselves. Good luck, you're all winners, and thank you very much.
Right. Okay, so we're just going to watch a short video of the MPC Tools Challenge 2019 process. So just stay tuned and enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Naledi Kwena Mwabelo and I am the governor of Midrand High School MPC. On my right, which is your left, I have the following deputy governors: Wutu Makwarera, Wandile Yende, as well as Muhao Mutane. I will first start by highlighting the purpose of the MPC. The monetary policy is a tool used by the Reserve Bank to control inflation using the repo rate to maintain price and balance of payment stability, to reduce unemployment and keep inflation within its target range of 3 to 6% in the interest of sustainable economic growth. And this leads us to the moment that we've all been waiting for, which is our decision. Despite an increase in CPI, inflation remains well within its target range of 3 to 6%. The increase is mainly from supply-side pressures due to increased electricity and fuel prices, a weaker rand, as well as rising food prices, while inflation pressures from the demand side remain subdued, reflected by low GDP, high unemployment, as well as low CCI. Increasing the repurchase rate will only dampen consumer demand and investment. Given that inflation is at 4.5% and is expected to peak at around 5.2%, we have decided to keep the repurchase rate unchanged at 6.75%. However, should risks to inflation increase, we shall not hesitate to revisit our decisions. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Governors. Was that a unanimous decision? Or were there differences of view?
as seen in our reports, inflation is expected to remain well within the target. However, there are aspects that we need to look at, aspects such as the low GDP, low demand, and high unemployment. I opted for us to decrease the rates so that it would make the cost of borrowing money cheaper. When the cost of borrowing money is cheaper, businesses and consumers opt to borrow more money, which leaves them having more of a disposable income. When they have more of a disposable income, they demand more. And if businesses borrow more money, they are able to expand. And when they expand, they employ more factors of production, such being labor. That will then decrease unemployment.
Thank you, Governors, for a very, very good presentation. So you mentioned that the MPC aims to bring the inflation into target between 3 and 6%. Why is it important to keep inflation within the target band?
So we keep the inflation target of 3 to 6% because when prices are too high, the consumers in the economy can't afford goods and services. So it's very important for us to put a bracket for yourselves so that the citizens can actually afford goods and services, as we know that South Africa has a lot of people that can't afford goods and services. Another reason is that the inflation target helps us as the MPC to decide which interest rates to implement during that term, whether to increase the repo rate or to decrease the repo rate. So mainly the inflation target is an indicator for us. It tells us what to do. Thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jamie De Cruz, and I'm the governor of Horizon High School. On my far right, we have Mr. Osazik Pinosa as our deputy governor. In the middle, we have Mr. Tato Molefe as our deputy governor. And last but not least, we have Mr. Ayanda Hadebe. Our credit rating. South Africa currently has a BAA3 credit rating, which is a notch away from junk status. I repeat, a notch away from junk status. And the oil prices, as you know, oil prices affect everything, I repeat, prices of every single good and service, except if you're getting the sunlight. So, as the monetary policy's decision to increase the repo rate by 25 basis points from 6.75% to 7% per annum. Thank you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ralja Chimalebacha, and I'm the governor of Elchad High School. With me here are my deputy governors, Olen Kawana, Amkelani Kwetseli, and Rechabile Moloi. We are here to present the statement of the monetary policy, the moment you have all been waiting for. The key economic outlook reveals that inflation has been kept within the range since the previous monetary policy, even though the CPI and PPI showed marginal increases in the month of March 2019. Inflation expectations reveal that inflation will remain contained within the range even in the long term to 2021. One of our members suggested that if the CPI and PPI continue to rise, it would be wise to increase the repo rate by 25 basis points. However, the other three members argued that with the increase in fuel prices and rising cost of energy, increasing the interest rate will dampen demand in the economy. Besides, as inflation is expected to remain in the target range for 2020 as well as 2021, the MPC eventually agreed to keep the repo rate unchanged at 6.75%.
Thank you again for the presentation. My question is on exchange rate fluctuations. You speak how the exchange rate affects inflation. I would like to know whether an exchange rate depreciation is always bad for the economy. Is it always bad for the economy?
Thank you for the question. A depreciation of the rand is not good, because if the rand depreciates, it means that we are going to be importing other goods from other countries at a higher rate, and then our exports are actually going to be cheaper. So when we import goods from other countries, it means that we are going to be importing those goods at a higher price, which means that when we import those goods, we are also going to be importing inflation into our country. Thank you.
Good morning to the floor at large. I am Sudarshan Padiachi, the governor of Northern Cape High School, and alongside me are my teammates, Liam Jacobs, Celia Fredericks, and Alexander Coughlin. Our decision is to hold the repo rate at its current rate of 6.75%. We feel that inflation will remain well within the target band over the medium term. We also took into consideration price increases of electricity and fuel prices.
Thank you again for the presentation. My question is on global inflation. and its importance for domestic inflation. Could you explain? I mean, you do mention that in your presentation. Could you explain the transmission channels, please?
Thank you for the question. What we decided is that yes, global inflation does indeed impact domestic inflation. We see it as the balance of payments where imports and exports will be affected by global inflation, negatively affected by global inflation.
So, for example, if global inflation increases, it will be more expensive to import, and and that means that domestic inflation will also increase.
Good morning, esteemed members of the panel. My name is Paula Prinsloo, and I'm the governor of Westco-Linden's Monetary Policy Committee. Alongside me are my deputy governors, Tamile Beck, Alsh van Briel, and Timothy Schwartz. The bank's measure of core inflation, which excludes food, fuel, and electricity prices, has remained at 4.4% from November 2018 to March 2019. Inflation is forecasted to average at 4.7% this year and 5.4% in 2020. As can be seen in this graph, the inflation rate tends to fluctuate because of highly volatile items, whereas core inflation, though tending to fluctuate slightly, gives a more realistic view of inflation. The MPC assesses the growth risks to be on the downside. These risks include rising petrol prices, increased electricity tariffs, low confidence, and high unemployment. These challenges cannot be dealt with by monetary policy alone and require the cooperation with macroeconomic policy, as they are of a structural nature. Against this backdrop, the MPC unanimously decided to keep the repurchase rate unchanged at 6.75%.
Thank you, governors. So I have a question following your decision to keep the repo rate unchanged. So given the state of the economy today, particularly given the numbers that we saw from Stats SA of unemployment rising to nearly 30%, would you change your interest rate decision? Why or why not?
Thank you very much for the question. We would unanimously decide to cut the rate by 25 basis points from our decision to of 6.75%, given the fact that unemployment rate is 29%. We believe, as the MPC believes, that demand pull inflation wouldn't be affected as much because businesses would be more encouraged to lend money.
Given that unemployment and economic growth is so sluggish at the moment, it would make sense to rather stimulate this, seeing as demand pull inflation is under control. Thank you.
Sorry, if I just might add, if we have a 25 basis point cut, businesses will be more likely to be able to lend money. They can use this money to invest in infrastructure, which would create job opportunities, thus lowering unemployment.
Good morning to one and all. My name is Abdul Mateen Gori, Governor of the UJ Metropolitan Academy Reserve Bank, and alongside me are Deputy Governors Safa Hanif, Muaz Rawat, and Chinane Nkwetseni. Since the previous meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee, the near-term inflation outlook has significantly improved. Electricity drawbacks, as well as elevating fuel prices, weigh down the forecast. As the country awaited a cabinet reshuffle, the rand has gained some ground and appreciated. Nevertheless, our growth outlook still remains weak. A decrease in the repo rate would deter investors away, and an increase would lower consumer confidence even further. Therefore, against this given backdrop, the Monetary Policy Committee has unanimously decided to keep the repurchase rate unchanged at 6.75% per annum. Thank you.
Thank you again for your presentation. You spoke briefly about US and China trade tensions. I wasn't sure how exactly that affects South Africa and South Africa's inflation outlook. Could you elaborate a little bit?
With regards to the trade tensions between the United States and China, this leads to a global shock, which will most definitely affect our country. USA and China are one of our biggest partners that we do trade with. Therefore, we could possibly see our exports decreasing, and this will have an adverse effect on our economy. Currently, our imports are already exceeding exports, and a further decrease in exports will have a bad effect on our economy. Then we could possibly see disinvestments as investors would probably try to move to safe haven, as they call it, I think, where they go to invest in commodities such as gold, because it retains its value.
Thank you very much, governors, for your presentation. I do have a question that I would like to hear from you. In your decision statement, you stated that a decrease in interest rates deters investors from investing in the country. So I would like to get to understand a bit more why that would be the case.
In terms of the interest rate, interest on an investment can be seen as income to the investor. So a higher interest rate would mean that higher profits can be gained from the investment. However, if the repo rate would have been lowered and interest rates lowered, therefore investors would rather pull their money away and invest somewhere where the interest rate would yield better profits. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ben Luciani, the governor from Butlang Secondary School in Mpumalanga. With me here are my deputy governors, Sipesihle Msogweni, Dozo Shezi, and Innocent Mahlangu, which is Tulani. Stable prices are a fundamental factor in the country's ability to grow its economy and provide employment to its citizens. Therefore, the South African Reserve Bank's main purpose is to ensure that prices are within the target range of 3 and 6%. After considering the factors that we have talked about, we as the MPC of Butlang Secondary School, we have agreed that the current repo rate of 6.75% be maintained, since the medium term forecast that the inflation rate will be within the target range of 3 and 6%. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Governor. Very nice presentation. Was your decision unanimous? Did all the governors agree on the decision not to change rates?
At first, it was difficult for us to come to a conclusion because 2 members said that the repo rate should increase, while other 2 members were saying that the repo rate should increase. But finally, we came to a conclusion that due to the factors that we have discussed, then the repo rate should remain constant at 6.75%.
Could you tell us a bit about the difference between fiscal and monetary policy? What are they trying to achieve that's different?
Okay, thank you for your question. The fiscal policy uses taxes and government spending to change the economy. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dinzeline Ferreira, and I found the Monetary Policy School Challenge very challenging. Thank you.
Well, the challenge was hard, presenting in front of such important people, but it also helped us to apply practically what we've learned in classrooms. So we are very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
I found this challenge very challenging. It was very exciting. I was a bit nervous, but it was very fun to do. We learned a lot about our team. We did a lot of hard work. We got close together. I encourage anyone to do this. If you have economics, it's really exciting. You get treated really amazing here. And I'd like to thank the South African Reserve Bank for all the effort they put into us. Really appreciate it. And we hope we can make it up to you one day. Thank you.
Will you encourage other kids to? Definitely. They should definitely grab this opportunity with both hands. You learn so much. You discover so much about you as a person, how to work together in a team. And also, you develop a real love for economics.
Do you think you'll win the competition?
I hope so. I genuinely hope so. I think we did really well as a team.
Honestly, at first, I was very nervous. I didn't know what to expect. But as we went up there and the presentation took its path, I guess our confidence built up. And I found this experience very enriching because of the amount of knowledge that we learned from compiling an MPC statement. We learned so much more about the SARB, the tasks of the SARB, and also how to actually look at all the factors around us and how it influences our daily lives.
Will you do it again if you given another chance?
Of course. I was actually telling my friends that I think I should fail grade 12 and come again here because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I encourage every grade 12 taking part in this. Give it your best shot.
Guys, please don't fail grade 12. You can come work at the SARB if you're so interested. So we now have Deputy Governor Fundi coming back and taking care of the next section of the program. So this is the interesting part that she gets to do. We will announce the winners now. And do you guys want to guess after you've seen the video? Ah! Don't. Remember what Ria said earlier on. She said she didn't imagine that she could be standing here at the Reserve Bank today. And I know that's probably the case for many of you. So let's just join hands together and welcome DG Fundi to announce the winners here today.
Thank you, Koketo. I'm not doing this by myself. If I could just invite the governor, the minister, and the MEC, please, to move to the front as we move to the most exciting part of today, the moment you've all been waiting for, the announcement of the winners. I heard enriching, I heard challenging, and I should say that making the top 8 was a very grueling experience. You guys were all phenomenal. But as with any competition, there is some ranking that comes. And so we have to decide who of the 8 made it in what form. So I will be calling out the winners, starting from the 7th place. And the process will be that as I'm calling out the winners, if the learners and their educators could please join our esteemed panel in the front to receive their prize. So for 7th place, we have 2 joint teams. The judging was really difficult. So we have 2 winners for 7th place, and the price is 1,500 per learner, a total of 6,000 Rand for the team, and 3,000 Rand will go to the school. And each of the learners and the educator will receive a commemorative coin. So 7th place goes to Pietra, Nathan, Deselin, Rena, and their educator Charlene from Groeneberg Secondary School in the Western Cape. Also in the 7th place are Jamie, Ayanda, Njabulo, Tato, and the educator Brighton from Horizon High School in Gauteng. Big hand to you. congratulations to Groenberg Secondary and Horizon High School. Now to the 6th place. The prize is 3,000 Rand per learner, a total of 12,000 Rand for the team, 6,000 Rand for the school, and each learner and the educator gets a commemorative coin. And the winner is El Shaddai Christian School, Relejaji Olaine Amokelani Retabile, and their teacher Jameson. Please join us on the stage. The 5th place prize is 4,000 Rand per learner, 16,000 Rand for the team, 7,000 Rand for the school, with each receiving a commemorative coin. And the winner is made up of Mbendulo, Sipesihle, Dogozo, Tulane, and the educator Annie from Botleng Secondary School in Mpumalanga. The 4th place prize is 6,000 Rand per learner, 9,000 Rand for the school, with each learner and their educator receiving a commemorative coin. And the winners are from Northern Cape High School, Liam, Celie, Alexandra, Sudashan, and their teacher, Benita. Congratulations. Congratulations to Northern Cape High School. prizes for third place are 7,000 Rand per learner, 12,000 Rand for the school, and a commemorative coin for each learner and their educator. And the winners are Abdul, Safar, Tinane, Muaz, and their educator Maybe from UJ Metropolitan Academy. Congratulations. Congratulations, UJ Metropolitan Academy. Moving on to our second place. The prize is 9,000 Rand per learner, 16,000 Rand for the school, and commemorative coins for each student and their teachers. And the prize goes to Paula, Tamili, Timothy, Elsiefren, and the educator, Michelle, from West School, Linden. Congratulations. Well, the coveted first prize, you can guess who it was. You saw them battling it out in their arguments, showing us all the curveballs from Midrand High School, Naledi, Voto, Wandile Mahau, and the educator Sarah. Well, let me tell you what they win. Excited, but they don't quite have the details of what they've won yet. But congratulations. And the prize for first place is 12,000 Rand per learner. Well, a laptop for each learner and their educator. And each learner is eligible for SARB bursary. And the school will receive 25,000 Rand. And they will also receive commemorative coins. How does it? It is amazing. They're great. Yes. What? Me? The principal. Is he here? Okay. I'm told that the principal for Midrand High School is also here. If you can join us, please, for the photo. Midrand High School. Minister, MEC, and Governor, if I could just ask you to just stay for a minute, please, a minute longer. Congratulations once more to this year's winner, but allow me to also acknowledge the team behind part of this successful execution. I'd like to acknowledge the following people from the departments of basic education from the provinces. Ms. Natalia Winter from Gauteng. If you can all come up front as I call your name to just receive a small token of our appreciation. Mr. Madumeja Letswalo, Ms. Palisa Boy, Ms. Irene Mabena, and Ms. Dombekaya Molapena, Ms. Juanita Diaries, Ms. Sitembi Soshabalala, and Mr. Marvel Dias. They're all from different provincial departments of education, and they've been a very important part to our selection process. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the MPC Schools Challenge is almost a year-long process. We meet here today and you see the end of it, but there is a group of people within the South African Reserve Bank that is very, very passionate about this MPC Schools Challenge, and I would like some of them who are here to stand up so that you can see them. I can't call them all by name. They're from different departments at the bank, from the executive management team of the bank, from the research and economic statistics department, financial stability, financial surveillance, the national payment system, our international relations, and our financial markets department. If our coaches are here, I would like them to please stand up so we can acknowledge them. Thank you. Thank you all very much for your interaction with the schools, for your patience and for your coaching that you've given to our learners during the course of the year. And I'd also like to give a special thanks to our judges, the 4 individuals that you saw during the video who were asking questions and pushing learners to their boundaries. And they are Chris Luwelt, Pamela Mjandana, Konstantin Makrolov, and Witness Simbanegavi. Thank you very much for all your efforts that you put into the competition. And to the governor and the deputy governors, of course, thank you very much for your continued support and commitment to this program. This, ladies and gentlemen, brings us more or less to a close. I'd like to now ask each of the schools that are here to join the governor and the minister and the MEC outside for photos outside of the venues, and to ask you to please come and enjoy a few cocktails outside the room with us. But thank you again for coming to celebrate with us, and safe travels, and we're looking forward to seeing some of you back here again with us next year. Thank you very much.